Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby. And today I'm coming at you with the turbo build on Paleozoics. Now, this was a build that I did before in the past with Magispectors. I actually have a build up on my channel it's called, I think the name of it is just Magispector Paleozoic. And the purpose of it was really to take the maximum advantage of the Paleozoics mechanic and how they summon themselves to build my board on my opponent's turn and set up for my follow-ups and OTKs on the next turn. So the purpose of this build is purely to spam the board with as many Paleozoics as possible, just swarm the field with as many of the trap monsters as possible, protect them with cards like Wabaku and Threatening Roar, and just absolutely OTK the next turn. And if not, set up triple Totally Awesome and just wall up with the dupe lock and have triple negates plus all your other disruption. I've tested this build a lot, and this build I actually did a year ago as well. And I wanted to revisit it because all my other builds on Paleozoics are really competitive. But this one, I like that. It's competitive, but it doesn't have to play competitive cards. And when I say that, I mean it doesn't have to stay basic staples that are like really expensive. So this one's really budget friendly, and it's actually insane. It's the fastest, it's the most fast-paced variant of Paleozoic, period, point blank. There is no faster variant of Paleozoic, and I'll show you guys why when we get into the main deck. So we're gonna start off with our frogs. I'm kind of gonna speed through them because why would I even waste time on explaining the frogs? You know, if you guys should know what the frogs do, because outside of the Paleozoic archetype, these used to be played in other decks as well. Like the frogs are just really old, but they've always been used as an engine and never really frequently in their own deck. But there was a time when they had their own deck and like people played it. And then we have Triple Pot of Desires, the only spell in the deck. It's basically all gas, no brakes. I'm not playing Demise in this build because I'm special summoning a lot, like legit. Alright, so now we've got the frogs and the Pot of Desires out the way. Now I can go ahead and get to the bread and butter of the deck. What really makes this deck go. We have Triple Morella, and everything has a nickname. So this card's Chicken Marsala. We have Triple Chicken Marsala. We have Triple Pikachu. For me, we have Double Loch Ness. Now, these are your engine Paleozoics. Like, these are really, really powerful. They don't do anything to your opponent, but they set you up for your own combo. So a lot of these, like this can extend, this should just dig you deeper, and also extend because every time you play a trap, you chain one. So all of your traps, and something that people really fail to pay attention to, is every trap in this deck is an extender because you chain and get another monster out when you activate it. But this is a double-edged sword because it also puts a frog from the Banished Zone back to the grave, and you chain a trap. So you get 2 monsters on field off of this one card. So this is a 1-card Totally Awesome in the late game. It really helps because you can actually interact with your banished cards off of Pot of Desires with this really great card. Triple Pikachu. This is like one of the best cards in the deck. This actually is what makes the deck operate so well. It's a really, really powerful card, and actually it applies a lot of pressure because it's not once per turn, and when you're drawing that many cards in your opponent's turn and you're swarming the field and you've already Wabaku'd them, they can't even kill your traps. They have to they have to use a board wipe because you can't Widow Anchor the Paleozoics. Why? Because they don't have effects. So not only are they unaffected by monster effects, but deck like Sky Strikers can't even Widow Anchor them. So it's just like they can't touch them. So your field is just free. So you have all these monsters, and they're gonna turn into Mistar Boys and Toads and Opabinias. Topologics is gonna get crazy and out of hand. So your 8 engine cards, and then we're gonna go up to the removal Paleozoics. We're playing 3 copies of, what am I gonna call them? I think I'm gonna call him Peanut Butter and Jealous. Yeah, but 3 copies of him, right? 3 copies of Canadia. I think I'm just gonna call Canadia Canadian Bacon. 3 copies of T-Rex. All right, you guys ready for that? You guys ready for it? No, they're not ready for it. So this card, I don't know what I'm gonna call him, but Hallucigenia. What's a good hallucinogen? Nah, I can't say that. We're on YouTube. I'm definitely going to nickname every single Paleozoic trap, though. But Triple Hallucigenia and Double Eldonia. That's what I'm going to call it. Eldonia, even though it looks like it should be pronounced Eldonia. So as you can clearly see, I'm playing every Paleozoic trap in the deck. The only one that I don't play at 3 is this one and Lee and Chaya. Every other Paleozoic I maximized on because these are the best cards in your deck. People don't understand when you're playing Paleozoics that the best traps in your deck are the Paleos. The only way that you're going to get a field presence outside of opening Swap like outside of opening Swap Frog, the only way that this deck gets a field presence is through the Paleozoics. And I've seen builds where they play 9 to 10 Paleos. I just find that's incorrect. The bare minimum amount of Paleos that I've ever played is 14. That's the lowest count you've ever seen me play in any of my Paleozoic lists, because I already know as an extremely, extremely seasoned veteran Paleozoic player that these are the best traps in the deck. I've played Paleos ever since they came out. I played it day one. When I figured out that this deck existed and I was able to get it day one when it came out, I picked it up because I was like, bro, trap monsters, that's lit. That's like a whole new summoning mechanic practically. It's not new, but it's like this deck does it consistently. So Eldenaya, if you guys didn't know, what it does is it boosts a monster on the field by 500. You can interact with this in a damage step, but I don't recommend it simply because Paleozoics can't chain themselves to summon from grave during the damage step. So you really use this to beat over. But you know the beauty of cards like Hallucigenia and Eldenaya, and something that really allows them to shine versus the removal Paleozoics, these non-removal cards, is these you don't have to rely on your opponent having a card for you to pop, book, or banish. These you can use on your own monsters, including your own Paleozoics, and that's legitimately, I'll do that sometimes just to build my field and get a larger board presence. I'll use Hallucigenia on one of my Paleos. I'll use Eldenaya on one of my Paleos. And you can also use Hallucigenia if you happen to not have a Threatening Roar or a Wabaku to protect your Paleo from being beat over, because they're only 1200. So if you can activate Hallucigenia, cut a guy in half, you know, that probably will make sure that your Paleozoic can't get attacked over. You can chain a trap. It's not once per turn, so you can have a guy twice. It's really, really powerful. I'm going to come on my turn. I'm using this on my own Paleozoics because I'm going to XYZ with them anyways or link with them. So I don't care about their attack statistics being halved. So yeah, triple Hallucigenia is actually a crazy good card. Eldenaya really helps. And Eldenaya, in conjunction with Hallucigenia, really helps you to beat over a lot of stuff. Like when you can go Hallucigenia on one of their monsters and then use Eldenaya on your Paleozoic XYZ like Anomalocaris or Totally Awesome, he'll have 1,000 boost because he gains 500 from the Starboy and then 500 from this. So he'll be a 3,200 beat stick, and then you Hallucigenia to have one of their monsters. So if their attack was 6,300, it'll go to 3,150 and Totally Awesome can beat over it. But let's be realistic. Monsters aren't really, these days, in popular decks, aren't really exceeding maybe 4,000. So if you just half a guy and it's at 2,000, Toad can already beat over. So really, these two in conjunction can beat over anything in the meta game, you know. Cubics can get pretty high, but, you know, Cubics are meta. And then these Paleozoics can kind of explain themselves. But in my opinion, while these are good cards, I feel like for the Turbo build, these are the worst ones because these rely on your opponent to have something. This can target any spell or trap on the field, and this can target any face-up. But why in the world would you pop your own cards, and why in the world would you banish your own cards? So these legitimately, these are very, very prone to relying on your opponent having a card for them to react with. And this is very horrible in the Sky Striker matchup in particular, because tokens cannot be booked, and Link monsters can't be booked, and Ray always chains her effects. So this is literally dead in that matchup. And I find that it just really, really sucks. Like, it's piss poor. It does nothing to Sky Strikers. But outside of that, this is really good in Sky Strikers, and this is insane in Sky Strikers because you can banish their multi-roll. Or when they activate Engage, you can actually chain this and banish their Engage. Sure, it'll resolve, but they're not actually going to be able to add it back off of Kagari, which is something that you can do depending on where the game state is. And none of these are once per turn. Like, none of the Paleozoics are once per turn. So your non-removal cards are insane. You have your battle reactors, and then you also have your engine cards. These get everything going for you. I actually played 21 Paleozoics, if I'm not mistaken, and I would not play less. In fact, I'm actually debating on whether I want to bump Eldenaya to 3. Lian Chai is too situational to play at 3, so I keep it at 2 because you need a setup for it. But Eldenaya can always be used because you can target any monster on the field and then just boost it. So yeah, these are the best cards in your deck. This is Turbo. Your every hand needs to have minimum 2 Paleozoics. But ideally, I like the godliest hand in this build is Threatening Roar or Wabaku plus 4 Paleozoic traps. That you have no idea how big your board's gonna get, especially if like you have like a filter card like Maria, which is actually Stuffed Chicken Marsala. Like, let's say if you have Stuffed Chicken Marsala as one of the other 4 Paleos in your hand, you're legitimately gonna be able to summon way more on your opponent's turn. And at the end of it, when you open with Paleos, also keep in mind that when you open with enough Paleos, they're going to get your Frog engine out of your deck. Why? Because they summon Totally Awesome. He can summon Swap Frog. So these will end up actually snowballing into a ton of advantage. And ultimately, you're going to end up getting into a lot of the better cards in your deck. So I just really feel strongly and passionately that these are the best cards of the deck. There's no better traps than these. Sorry, you guys, it's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. It doesn't matter if you don't like the deck and if you don't like my build. I love it, and that's all that matters. So next up, we have triple Gozen match. I couldn't play Rivalry and Gozen because I needed space. But also, if I was to pick between the two in this current format that we're in, Gozen is just way better. It's superior to Rivalry because Rivalry doesn't beat Altergeist or Trickstars or Thunder Dragons or Sky Strikers. And it also really doesn't like beat a lot of other rogue decks either. Whereas Gozen beats all the cards, all the decks I mentioned outside of Trickstars. But Gozen actually does beat Sky Strikers, because all their links are different monster as all their links are different attribute as well as rate and the token, so they actually can't do anything. Whereas under Rivalry, all their link monsters are machines, so they can keep swapping them out, which really sucks. And then for Thunder Dragons, they can't get Titan and Colossus out. And then if they get the egg out on the field, or if they get out Battery Man Solar, they can't get out Colossus because he's a dark. Even though this deck doesn't lose to it, it's just still, like, it's really good in that matchup. It's superior. It dominates even Gokis and the FTK, because who cares if all the dangers are dark? What are they going to do? Turn them into link monsters, right? Are any of the Nightmares dark attribute? Just Unicorn, right? And then think of it, is Firewall a dark attribute? So they legitimately can't even FTK you because they can't get out Firewall. And it's not like they can make Nightmare Phoenix to pop this because that's a fire attribute and all their monsters are dark. So it's superior in like every matchup that's not Trickstars. It beats Altergeist. You know, it's just really powerful. Even slows down Dracos because now they can't just, you know, go like Knuckles and then Ignis and then Maiden. Like, they just have to stick to the one Draco that they have. And it's just really, really strong. Like I said, I just feel that it's superior in comparison to Rivalry. But if you like Rivalry, it's up to you, bro. I don't tell people how to play their deck. That's why I like when, you know, like I get basically what you can call constructive criticism, but I like when it's not people telling me what to play in my deck, because it's like I play my deck for a reason and I play the cards that I play for a reason, and it's not just because of strenuous playtesting, but it's through experience. So I just feel that this is superior in my opinion. Next up, this card is so broken. It's absolutely free. Reckless Greed. This deck loves traps that you can play whenever you want. So that's all I'm saying. Even though they're great cards, and I'm never going to say that they're bad, so please do not misinterpret and try to tell me that I'm saying these bad, because I'm not. I'm saying that these are the worst of the Paleos because they are prone and reliant on your opponent having a card. And this can be dead at times. And this can be dead at times because if you're playing a back row heavy deck, they don't have any face-up cards for you to banish. And then if you're playing a deck that doesn't have back rows, this can be dead. So the 9 removal cards are great in the matchups where they are relevant. But outside of that, they're just not the best ones because there's not a window of opportunity where they can just activate whenever you want. Whereas cards like Pikachu and Stuffed Chicken Marsala, and then, you know, I'm going to just call this Lily. And then, you know, the attack modifiers, they can be activated whenever you want because you can actually use them on your own cards. And these are just free. You can play them whenever. That's why Gozen's incredible. And Reckless Greed is just insane, you guys. It's a +1. It gets you so much advantage. It gets you a free monster on field, 2 more cards. It's just incredible, you guys. And you can actually +3 off of this if you have Anomalocaris, which this deck gets out Anomalocaris really fast. And normally that's what I do. I'll start grinding with Anomalocaris under my Reckless if I'm under it, and I'll use Anomalocaris to draw a card on my opponent's turn and on my turn. So I'm drawing 2, and then I draw for turn, so I'm getting 3 cards basically, like, by the time it comes to my turn. So even though I flip the Reckless, I'm still getting 3 extra cards, because Anomalocaris, every time you activate a trap, it's going to draw you a card, and you legitimately, like, over half your deck is trapped. So just so broken. Really is. Even Pikaia, which is the Pikachu trap, if you play that, you're going to draw 3 with Anomalocaris. Anomalocaris is just really a broken card. People really sleep on it. And then we have really the, outside of the Paleozoics, these are the best traps in your deck. Wabaku and Threatening Roar. These make your whole board free, you guys. Absolutely free. The traps are unaffected by monster effects. They have no effects, so they cannot be Widow Anchored. Which is really awesome. So it's not like they can take them from you. And then you flip this, and they can't be destroyed by battle. Basically, they need a trap that can get rid of the Paleozoics, because that's the only thing that can harm them. If they're unaffected by monster effects, and obviously you can't get rid of them with the trap because they're just going to replace themselves with another one. So you literally have to have a Dark Hole or a Raigeki or a Lightning Vortex, and it's very unlikely that you will. So your whole board is basically free, and you're guaranteed to just kill them next turn. You can even break their board. Like, this deck, people really sleep on it. Like, especially if they have resources established, like if they have an optimal field. This card right here is just going to assist you in just picking their board apart, as well as this. You go into these, you're going to break their board, you guys. Seriously, it's just that great. So absolutely free. And then 2 lost wins, similar to Hallucinogenia. You just really need to have your opponent's monsters attack because your Paleos are small. And for the most part, these are the field presence that are the most prevalent and dominant and the most consistently generated in this deck. And these are what you're going to rely on more than your frogs. I actually rely more on the Paleozoics than the actual frogs. And think of it, the deck is what? A Paleozoic deck, not a frog deck. Frogs are just an engine. So this really helps to protect them. And obviously it's not an infinite, but basically a permanent negation. It's like forever, which is really insane. And then the half is forever. And it's like 2 negates in 1 card, unless you send it off Maria, which I never really do. I prefer to keep it, but if I have to, yeah, I'll dump it off Maria because it's a free negation. And it's a follow-up. It's a negation with the follow-ups. It's a really great card. And as you can clearly tell, I don't play any counter traps. Why? Because I want to open up with every card in my hand should be a combo piece that can revolve around making my Paleos leave the grave and hit the field. And they can't chain the counter trap. So I'm not saying Strike's a bad card. I'm just saying that it's not conducive with the way I play this build. You see my other builds, they have strikes in them. You see other builds, they have other traps like impermanence. Any card that you're going to ask, why don't you play this? Either I choose not to play it because I just don't play it, or I played it in my other list. So, like I said inside of the video, this is a turbo build. So, there's a lot of traps that people think are relevant, like Sanctum and all that stuff. But for me, all I care about is Paleos because I'm going to win the duel with that. I don't need to stall out with the Scythe. I don't need to, hide behind multiple Floodgates and, flip strikes and stuff like that. The Paleozoics win you your games. Seriously. Try the build out. It's really, really fun. So, now for the extra deck. We have triple Mastar Boy. Boy, you can't get enough of this. And 1 Topple. Topple is ridiculous in this build. You're getting this guy out like every single second turn. You obviously can't make it turn 1, but like this card is guaranteed. You're never not going to make it. And once you make it, that's when you apply even more pressure. But I only make this in specific matchups because for the most part, these are the cards that I'm always going into. These right here. I'm always going into the Paleozoic XYZs and Toad. Like, my boards, when I open with just a Wabaku and then 4 Paleos, this is the board that I make on the next turn. And I will have summoned this here, and then I'd use Mastar Boy in jump zones, as long as the zone's unoccupied. And I end like this, and then I link again, and then go Mastar Boy there, and then I summon a Toad there. So I have double Toad and Almoncaris. I only make this so I can search another removal, or my Pikachu so I can draw 2 more cards and chain a trap. It's actually insane. And this card, you have to play it at 3. I don't care if you can add it off of Toad. I use Toad to add Toad because I'm turboing out triple Toads all the time. I'm not leaving a Toad in my grave. And my Mastar Boys never get destroyed. So that interaction where people want to come and say, oh, you can add off Mastar Boy? Bro, I link my Mastar Boys into more Mastar Boys. I go through all 3 of them in 1 turn. They're not getting destroyed. And when I use my Toads, I either add a Swap Frog or I add itself. So no, I don't ever put this back, even though you can. So that's why I play 3. If you're ever going to say, you don't have to play 3, if you can add it back. No, bro. I play the deck a certain way on purpose. Triple Opabina, it's insane. You think of it like your hand is full of ammunition. You make this card, you're playing all your traps like spells. Even like when I open the optimal hand turn 1, I will legitimately make this with a swap and a water. I don't care that I can't search because if it doesn't have a trap as XYZ material, you can't search. But I'll make it with a swap and a water, and then I'll play my Maria. I'll play another trap from my hand, and then I'll end up building my field on turn 1. But also, it's really powerful when you're going second because you can make this, and sometimes this will help to break the board better than stalling out with the Totally Awesome because that's just 1 negate. So sometimes going second, you'll make Opabinia and then play all your Paleozoic traps from hand. And this is unaffected by monster effects. So a lot of the times, it doesn't care what your opponent has on their field. And if it's Altergeist, bro, that matchup is free. You get so much resources in grave that you literally just live off your grave. And you're playing Altergeist, bro, they are building your board. You don't even have to work for it. You could just keep your trap set and be like, oh, you play that? All right, chain trap. Oh, you play that? All right, I chain trap. And, like, you still haven't even used yours. So they make your boards even more overpowered. And just 1 Almoncaris. I don't really like summoning 2 because the resources that it takes to summon 2 actually can be 2 Totally Awesomes and 1 of this instead of just 2 of it. But this card is really powerful. It applies a heaping amount of pressure to your opponent. It's during your player's turn, it can pop a card. It's insane. It's unaffected by monster effects. The best effect and my favorite effect of it is whenever a trap leaves from your spell or trap zone to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. That's insane in conjunction with Pikachu. It's insane in conjunction with your Reckless Greed. And when you're under Reckless Greed, you draw 1 on your opponent's turn. You draw 1 on your turn, and you draw for turn, so that's 3. And then you activate a draw trap like Pikachu, and then you draw 3 more. So you actually get insane advantage off of just sitting on this. And like just these alone, you generate so much advantage, apply so much pressure, and consistently replenish all the resources that you're expending while you're building your board that they break it, you remake it. They break it, you remake it. And it's everything is so free, you guys. It's actually insane. I'm not even exaggerating. For real, for real. And next up, one of the coolest lockdowns for this variation is the Ghost Trick So Cute Box lockdown. I only do this one against certain decks where I know that it's relevant. So this is the second So Cute boss. So how she works, it's supposed to be Succubus, but it's So Cute boss. How she works is your opponent cannot target any other monsters for attacks except for her. And then also when you have another one, it's just like a whole nother dupe lock, because that's how Dupe Frog works. So basically your opponent can't attack. But her other effect is to pop, I think it has to be a certain amount of attack. Yeah, her other effect is detaching material from this card. Target one face-up monster on the field whose attack is less than or equal to the combined attack of all Ghost Trick monsters in the field and destroy it. If you do, that monster card zone cannot be used as long as you control a Ghost Trick monster. So you know what's really cool? It's very similar to the ninjas. I don't know if you guys know about ninjas, but they have a trap that's kind of similar. If you pop from the extra monster zone, that they basically get locked out from their extra deck. Especially if you have like a Mastar Boy here, and then you pop in their extra monster zone, as long as it will have basically 2,400 or 2,800 or less, because these two are both Secure Boss, and their attacks accumulate because it's the combined of all Ghost Tricks you control. So you control 2,800 worth of Ghost Tricks. You pop any monster that's 2,800 or less, they can't go into their extra deck now. And sometimes you'll just block certain zones where, like, you know, if you block like the middle zone, for example, zone 3, nobody can do like firewall combos and extra links because they need zone 3 for everything. It's crazy. If you can't use the middle zone, it's like nearly impossible to even do anything besides extra link. Like, it's just, they can't even extra link, but like it just makes it so difficult. The best thing is that this basically locks your opponent from the extra deck. It's actually insane. And every turn you're popping cards. It doesn't have to have XYZ materials to have its Floodgate effect. So yeah, I played 2 of it. It's really legit. Super spicy, you guys. It's amazing. Gotta try it out. I'm still a firm believer in Daigosto Phoenix and Cat Shark. I really am. Because if I disrupted my opponent to the point where they have an open field, like if I banish their monster with Dino Mishkis and they just have nothing left, I'm just going to make this use her effect to double his attack. I'm sorry, use his effect to give his ability to attack twice and then declare an attack, and then in damage step, use her effect to double his attack. And then it go 3,000, 3,000. This one attack for 1,000 because there's a Mastar Boy there. And then you attack for 19. That's 8,900 damage. Or you can just do this. Like, somebody's going to comment and say, or you can do this. I already know that you can do this. So I'm going to say it before you say it. You can do this, and that's game 2. But I like to save my Mastar Boys. So you use less Mastar Boys for this OTK. Because, like, my Mastar Boys, I don't recycle them, so I like to save them. So just in case the OTK doesn't go through, I have 2 more Mastar Boys, versus if this OTK doesn't go through, I only have 1 Mastar Boy, because I really don't like wasting a toe just to put it back. But yeah, that's actually the whole deck profile, you guys. Really hope that you enjoyed it. I'm not saying that this is the best deck in the world. I'm not saying that this is tier 2 or tier 1. So I understand if you want to comment and say, oh, you know, it's not competitive. You just really have to try the deck yourself, because it actually, like, while it might seem like the Paleozoic traps may not seem competitive, what they make is. Because they make everything in your extra deck. And are you going to say Totally Awesome is not competitive? Are you going to say this is not competitive? Are you going to say that this lockdown is not competitive? Are you going to say that these are not great cards? So the traps themselves, yeah, sure, they're not so great. All they are is just monsters that happen to be unaffected by monster effects. But it's what you go into. So yeah, I really love this variation. This is my favorite Paleozoic build. In my personal opinion, and everything I've stated is my opinion. I'm entitled to mine just like you're entitled to yours, so I understand if you don't like this build, but I love it. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content, and I hope that you enjoyed this deck profile, and I got some more coming for you. So yeah, peace, yo.